This past weekend, I finished second place at Grand Prix Portland out of about 1,400 players. I'm headed back to the Pro Tour, October, Honolulu, Hawaii. I will see you there. I'm hyped. I'm stoked. Welcome in. Much love. Trav here. So much love to the Magic the Gathering community, Magic for Good, everybody who messaged me, everybody who said what's up at the tournament site, all my opponents, tournament organizers, WotC, everybody involved, judging staff, everybody involved in making it happen. Unbelievably good weekend. Can't believe it, really. Does feel surreal. It doesn't feel like real life. And there's so much to talk about. The deck list itself, how the deck came together, how I got the cards, how to top 8 a Grand Prix with my third, how to prepare for an 18-round tournament. So much to talk about, but first I need to talk about what it feels like to finish second and the final match, because recency bias, the way the brain works, fixates on the most recent thing. I can't stop thinking about the last game, how I could have played it differently to win, because I wanted to win this one. It was my third. I wanted to win super bad, and the trophy is right there sitting next to me. I touched it, I felt it, and I feel like I handed it to my opponent and said, here you go, bro, from the way I played in the final game. So I'm thinking about how I could have played differently and how I could have sequenced my eating and such in the last day to win. So let me give you a little bit of behind the scenes stuff going on here. My opponent and I pretty much played for the trophy. We decided to do a prize split. He wanted to do a prize split before the top 4, because just low variance, you know, there's no reason to play $5,000 on a match of Magic unless you really, really think you're going to win. I thought I was going to win my semifinals match, so I said no sir, no prize split. But in the semis, I started to get foggy. It's a slog. 18 rounds is really tough. My opponent was sloppy. I pulled out the win. I was confident I could beat Bant and got there. But I was not confident I could beat this Delirium deck. I didn't know the matchup. I didn't think it was a good matchup necessarily. And I said, sure, well, yo, let's split it. Instead of 10K, 5K, let's do 7.5, 7.5. Actually, let's make it 8-7, so we play for a grand handshake deal with the opponent Santana. So we're playing for the trophy. I think it's always good, low variance, make deals. Talk about how to get the deck as well. So I played. My opponent did not play perfect. I didn't play perfect. My mistakes ended up being a lot more costly because of the nature of the matchup. I was playing the interactive deck by far, and his deck was more linear, so I don't think his decisions were necessarily as difficult or as costly. I had 2 opportunities to win the second game and passed on both of them. It was me. My deck was disruptive. I picked the line that both players play by. It was up to me to win or lose that match, I feel. So, yeah. Now, before I talk about the mistakes themselves, I think it was an energy problem. I had a sequence of food, and we'll talk about that. And sleeping, I got on a sleep schedule and all this, but I was getting low on energy. There was one round I skipped eating, and I think that cost me. And before the finals, shout out to my guy Anders, he was behind me, and it's like, yo, anyone have any sugar? I just need energy right now. Chocolate bar. I ate a chocolate bar right before the finals. I don't know if that helped me or hurt me. I also did not invert before the finals. I like to get upside down each round and physically move fresh blood to my head via gravity. Seems to work. There's a lot of evidence that it does. We'll talk about that in the other video. I didn't do that before the finals, so I'm thinking it's not just play mistake, because this stuff is easy to look on in camera in retrospect and say, why the fuck didn't I do that? But it's not so hard in the moment to just be really clear around 18 of a crazy 3-day weekend. So getting the matchup itself, I'm playing Black-White Planeswalker Control. You'll see the deck tech. Opponent's playing Delirium. Now, green-black-red, Jund Delirium is a really interesting matchup because he's just trying to Emrakul as fast as possible. I have a very hard time beating Emrakul. I have a few ways to kill it between Planar Outburst, Ob Nixilis, and Blighted Fen, but he has ways to recur it, so for most of the matchups, I play the control and I'll just win inevitably. In this matchup, especially game 1, I have to win as fast as possible. Period. The longer the game goes, the greater the chance that I'm going to lose. So I have to take the most aggressive line, identifying who's the beatdown, as Mike Forrest says. Super important. So I'm on the play, and I actually really liked my play in the first game. I thought I played awesome, and I'm happy with that. We'll get to the second game later. So the first game, first hand has 2 lands, 3 removal spells, and no pressure. I figure this hand is just not going to get it done. Waiting to kill like a Pilgrim's Eye is not going to win me this game. The opponent will run away with Liliana, stabilize with Ishkanah, play Emrakul. So I throw it back, and I open with Shambling Vent, a couple lands, Gideon, and Oath of Liliana, which is my most aggressive hand. Oath on turn, Shambling Vent into Oath on turn 3 into Gideon is a turn 6 kill with removal. If you have it, you have time to play removal and transgress the mind, because the Gideon makes 2 tokens with the zombie, attacks for 9. You can play removal that turn. Next turn you activate Vent, attack for 20. So I play Oath on the 3rd turn. Opponent has no two drops in this whole deck, so I just play it on an empty board. Again, I'm not going to wait for him to play Ishkanah. He plays Pilgrim's Eye, and I go for Gideon. Alternatively, I could have slowed down to Ruinous Path as Pilgrim's Eye to play around him getting out Distended Mindbender and taking care of my hand. But I also don't want to give him time to play Ishkanah. I don't want to give him time to get to Emrakul, and I'm not going to play around him having a 4th land and a 2 of. Unfortunately, he had the 4th land and the 2 of, took a removal spell and Ob Nixilis from my hand. If he didn't have that, I would have thrown down Ob Nixilis and just ran away with the game, Emrakul or no, because Ob Nix also kills Emrakul. I'm pretty sure I would have won that. But hey, we're here. He put that card in his deck. I top deck removal, kill his Mindbender, attack for 9, pass the turn. His 5th turn, he doesn't yet have Delirium for Ishkanah, and goes and digs from his deck, passes the turn with 1 red up. I untap, draw a land, activate Shambling Vent, attack for 11, are you dead? And he has Fiery Impulse from my Shambling Vent, well, had to go for it, he's at 2 life. I'm at 20, pass the turn, untap Ishkanah Spiders, untap, draw, grasp, attack, grasp Ishkanah, clear, get ahead on board, pass the turn again. Recur Ishkanah, play Ishkanah. Untap, draw removal or something, force it. It keeps recurring Ishkanah. I draw another Gideon and make 2 dudes. And I'm playing to my outs at this point, just trying to extend the game. I can draw Planar Outburst and destroy all creatures, activate Gideon, kill him. Alternatively, I could draw my 6th land, play Sorin, plus it, and do 2 to him to win. Eventually, he gets to Emrakul, takes my turn. Actually, he gets to Emrakul, and on his Emrakul turn, he makes a mistake because he needs to kill my Gideon, so I can't Planar Outburst it through. He attacks it to 4 loyalty, thinking that he can -4 it on my turn, but I grasp one of his spiders. Gideon goes to 5, so on my turn, when he Gideon emblems, it goes to 1. I can untap and draw Planar Outburst and win. Mistake on his part. However, it didn't matter. I didn't draw the Outburst. I did not draw the Sorin, so we have to go to game 2. Close game. You know, didn't necessarily get lucky or unlucky. It's a long tournament anyways. I got to play a game of Magic. I played that game well. I took an aggressive line. Very happy with that. Second game is the game that haunts me. I have Infinite Obliteration, which is like a cranial extraction effect to take his Emrakul. Although it's complicated because even if I take his Emrakul, I can lose to the Ishkanah recursion, especially with Spider Drains. He's got Den Protectors, Liliana's Grapples to bring them back. So this is why I was like, okay, we can prize split, because this is a tough matchup. Now, in the final game, I really don't remember a lot of the details that well because I was just foggy at this point. That's a sign. The fact that I can't really remember the game super well, except for a few pivotal plays, is the sign that I just was not mentally where I needed to be in the game. The 2 pivotal plays were when I had Infinite Obliteration. I was deciding what to do. I saw his hand through a Transgress, and I knew he basically only had a Den Protector left in his hand at this point. I really wanted to Infinite Obliterate his Ishkanah and just try to win under Emrakul, because I had a Gideon Ob Nix, fairly aggressive hand. But he played Ishkanah turn 5 before I could Infinite Obliterate from the graveyard. He plays another Ishkanah and his 7 spiders in play. So, on my turn, I don't remember the exact details, but I could Infinite Emrakul. I'm not sure I would have won because I was concerned about the spiders looping. I could have Infinite Oblit the Den Protector from hand, and that's what I chose to do. Alternatively, I could have waited a turn, played Ruinous Path on the Ishkanah, then Infinite Oblit both from the graveyard. This play I actually don't know, and it's really unclear what would have happened with either line. So I took the Den Protector. I think it was fine because it was his only card in hand, and now he's on pure top decks with an Ishkanah, lots of spiders, but to my Gideon, Ob Nix, and me on the aggressive. The next thing that happens is on his empty hand, he draws a card, tanks, checks out his graveyard, passes the turn. Now this is a tell that he may have just drawn Emrakul because almost anything he drew would affect the board he would play at this point. Aside from an Emrakul, he has 1 mana short or a land. On my turn, I ask basically, does he have Emrakul mana? He says no, I'm a mana short. I don't have discard at this point, but I'm trying to go aggro and just finish things. Pass the turn back, and I say, there's no way that you've just drawn Emrakul and land to cast Emrakul, 2 consecutive top decks. Oh, by the way, I believe he drew like a grapple at some a turn or two earlier to recur Ishkana a third time. Just so many spiders. I also think that he forgot to drain me with Ishkana on the turn this top deck turn. So mistake from him, perhaps that didn't cost him like my mistake eventually cost me. He plays Traverse the Ulvenwald with Delirium, and gets a Nissa, plays it, plays the land, flips Nissa, makes the Alicia, whatever, the 4/4 token, and has blockers. He has a great board position with the one card in hand. Passes back to me, and I need to figure out what that card is. I draw a card. I believe I plus Obnyx and draw Transgress the Mind. Not necessarily in that order, and I have to decide whether to transgress him, to ruin his path with Awaken, which would make a 4/4 Shambling Vent, 6/7 Shambling Vent, which could end the game super fast and guarantee I win through Ishkana only. Or I could Shambling. It's just so hard to know. Does he have Emrakul? I think he might. Traverse for Nissa is not necessarily a tell that he drew that, because if he traversed, he wouldn't traverse for Emrakul a mana short and just tell me what he's going to do, or I would fire off Transgress. And he is, perhaps if he had a land in hand, he would play the land and pass the turn and hope to draw another land to traverse for Emrakul right there. But it's possible he doesn't have Emrakul. And I'm thinking, man, I don't want to play Transgress and miss and slow down and give him more time to draw Emrakul. I just want to take over the board right now and win. So I tank and tank and tank, and the judge says you have to make a play. So I tap 7, I ruin his path, kill his Planeswalker, make a 4/4 Shambling Vent, make a Knight with my Gideon. I'm way ahead on board. Probably will win this if he doesn't have Emrakul right then. Untaps, he plays Emrakul. If I had Transgress was the correct play, and the reason why is if I transgress and miss, I'm still ahead on board because I have my 2 Planeswalkers and he has nothing in hand, right? It doesn't matter that I need to ruin his path as Planeswalker and I missed out in the 4/4. I have no spells left, but I have to trust the Obnyx and the Gideon will pull me ahead, which they would. I believe they would, but I didn't do that. The stakes of transgressing and not transgressing when he has Emrakul are losing the game. So he had Emrakul, and he Emrakuls me, and he takes my first turn, minus Obnyx to kill my Shambling Vent. He plays a Transgress on myself, which I top deck right then, and makes a bad attack and passes back to me. At this point, I still have 2 Planeswalkers, and I have top decks. I can draw Planar Outburst to clear the board, and he has nothing left if that's the case, and I will still probably win. I have 2 in the deck at this point, so I have a decent chance because I have Obnyx to draw 2 cards. Draw the first card, it's a blank. Minus Obnyx, plus Obnyx, I lose a life. Draw the next card, slow roll, peel it, and it's a Read the Bones. And I start laughing because I have 4 more looks and I have 8 mana. I can Read the Bones for Planar Outburst. Read the Bones, scry 1, scry 2 slowly, no Planar Outburst, ship to the bottom, draw 1, not Planar Outburst, pull the last card off the deck, throw it down, and Santana is the GP champion. So in retrospect, Transgress is just way better because if I play it and he doesn't have Emrakul, I'm ahead and I have a good chance of winning. If I don't play Transgress and he has Emrakul, I just lose. But again, hey, hindsight is much better than when you're right there, especially because again, 18-round tournament, and we're going to talk about that, the energy that goes into it. So I finished second, queued for the Pro Tour, super hyped, super stoked, a little bittersweet. I think I can banish that with this and say, hey, the benefit of finishing second is that. Oh, by the way, this match is on. It was on camera. I should have mentioned that earlier. Oh well. Anyway, the benefit of finishing second is that it's harder. Life is hard. Life is not easy. Generally, things don't go perfect in life, and I don't think there's a lot of potential for growth if I come in first in that tournament. Just everything goes awesome. There's nothing I have to deal with that was negative at all. Second is a lot harder because I was so close to what I wanted to accomplish and did not. And there's a lot of potential for growth in how I handle it. How do I internalize or compartmentalize this and move forward? So I would have preferred first, but I'm happy with second because and there's certain advantages to second. I think I'll be stronger for it, and that's the narrative that I'm going to choose to run with. The Pro Tour, I will try my hardest and sequence my food better. And this is also why I don't necessarily love playing in Magic tournaments, because even if I finish second, it feels bad sometimes, really, out of 1,400. And I don't want to put myself in that position, but I'll do it once in a while. I'll do it once a year or something like that. So thank you so much. Much love. Just wanted to share this. Want to get this off my chest right away. Lots of awesome stuff coming. Deck tech, how the deck came together, physical training, how to top 8 a GP, so on and so on and so on. Stay tuned. Thank you once again, everybody. Thank you, Wizards. Thank you, everybody. And it'll also be fun preparing for the Pro Tour. So much cool stuff coming up. Give this video a thumbs up, share it, subscribe. See you in the comments. Let me know what you think. Speak with you soon. Once again, much love. Magic for good.